Hi guys, it's Nikki once again with all the election news. So that's how the latest polls look. Right on top. This is the average of all the polls. It's a dead heat. In at least 5 battleground states, it's down to less than 1/10 of a percentage point. That's how close it's running, Hillary versus Trump. And that is the average of all the polls that are out in the market. And if you go state-wise, these are just a sampling of the states. Most of you are regulars, so you know what I'm talking about. But just in case there's somebody who's coming in new into this broadcast, these are basically the battleground states. And some of them have not been traditional battlegrounds. They've just become battlegrounds because it's Hillary versus Trump, and both are so disliked that earlier toss-up states have become battlegrounds. Earlier battlegrounds which leaned towards Clinton have gone towards Trump. It's a mess. So Georgia, Iowa, Ohio, Nevada, Missouri and Florida all going towards Trump. Some of them have numbers with them where you can see exactly how many percentage points he's ahead. And all these are the states where Clinton is ahead. Penn State, Michigan, Virginia, Wisconsin and Colorado. Clinton leads in all these states, but in at least 5 states that will really make or break this election, it's down to a dead heat. And what's the latest from the campaign trail? Well, basically, as Brangelina has taken over the headlines, both the campaigns are hunkering down for the debates. It's debate season. 26th is the first debate. And then in October, there are 2 debates. So right now, what is the Clinton camp thinking of doing? They're basically saying to her, let him screw up. Let Trump goof up. Let him make all the mistakes. Give him a long rope so that he starts talking on the debate stage. Don't try to drown him in policy. If you want, you can do it, but allow him to make mistakes. Don't cut him short when he's talking, because let the country see how limited his vocabulary is. So that's the advice she's getting from her campaign insiders, and she's saying, I've never gotten so much advice on anything else but for the debates. So there will be no teleprompter for Donald Trump, and this is one of those rare occasions where he's not going to have a teleprompter in the recent times, because ever since his campaign guys told him to keep shut, don't talk, don't say anything off the cuff, he's been keeping quiet, and even that has helped him. Look at these numbers. These are not numbers from 3 weeks ago. They are numbers that he's improved on just by keeping quiet. So it's helped him. It's helped him to keep quiet. But he's coming back to the old Trump ways again now that Rahami has been caught for the New Jersey and New York bombings. He's gone ahead and said they should be profiled. Foreigners with terror ties must be profiled. Muslims, etc., etc. So he started off all that again. Now, he will not have a teleprompter during the debate. He will just have to respond to whatever Clinton says. She is going to drown him with policy when it comes to policy. And the debate topics have just been announced, so there will be a lot of policy. His vocabulary has generally remained limited to good, bad, stupid, ugly, stuff like that. So Hillary Clinton's campaign wants the public to see more of that, because then the contrast will be the visual. The visual and the imagery will speak for itself, and they want him to goof on the big stage. He's already said that the debates are rigged, and he'd rather be doing something else, but he'll be hard-pressed to avoid this one. So he's going to be there, Hofstra University, 26 September, 9 p.m. local time, which will be about 7 a.m. India time, 6:30 a.m. India time. So that's as far as the debate is concerned. And also another thing that Clinton is learning and the campaign is learning is this election, and actually no election is about just facts alone. It's not about facts and policy and how much you know and how many years you've been in the government. There is certainly a backlash against that itself, and Trump's rise shows that. This elections are about emotion, about how you connect to the people, whether it's fear, whether it's something else, student loans, whatever. But it's not about the facts, it's about the emotion that these candidates are able to evoke. And the younger people are saying that neither candidate is able to evoke that. So the other advice that Clinton is getting is, this is a gunfight. You don't take a knife to a gunfight. You take a gun to a gunfight. So if Trump is beating you up, you have to beat him up. You cannot sit back and then choose your words carefully and calibrate them and tell everyone to be at peace and be quiet and send out a press release or a press statement or a carefully managed press conference. No, take him on his own terms. If he's going to beat you up, you'll have to beat him up, because this is the final bet. That's as far as the debates are. What is Bill Clinton up to? So Bill Clinton is basically trying to see if he can help his wife's campaign by shutting up the bad publicity he's been getting for the Clinton Foundation. Not just him, both of them. What's the basic talk? The buzz is that the Clinton Foundation is just a front, and has been a front for people, the wealthy donors, to curry favors with Clinton when she was Secretary of State. It was used as a front where they would donate and then they would get favors from the government side, because Clinton at that time, Hillary Clinton, was Secretary of State during the first term of Obama. So he's trying to see if he can pipe that down and help Hillary during the debates. And what else? Yeah, so North Carolina, where are we? North Carolina, are we here? No, North Carolina is another state that the Clinton is looking at very carefully now, much more carefully. Clinton is leading by a little bit there, and they're very happy about it because they know that North Carolina, if Trump cannot carry that, if he cannot carry Penn State, if he cannot carry one or two of these states, if he cannot carry Wisconsin, and if he cannot carry Florida, I forgot about that. Florida is a tie right now. It was leaning a little bit towards Trump. It's a dead tie. If elections were to be held today, it's a tie there in Florida. So with Florida becoming a tie, the Clinton camp is looking at North Carolina more carefully, because the more states where there is a tie, or the more states where Clinton is doing a little better than Trump, they're still in a good place. The betting odds are still favoring Clinton, although the poll average is kind of in a dead heat. So North Carolina, if he doesn't carry, if Trump cannot carry North Carolina, cannot carry Penn, is not sure about Florida, and not sure about Maine's at least one electoral vote in Maine, then he does not have a path. So his paths are basically to take all of the states that Mitt Romney won and then some. So the harder it gets for Trump, the better it is for Clinton. It might be close, but it's certainly, she's in a better place if he does badly in Florida and North Carolina and a couple of these other states where he's right now doing well. Now, Trump has survived all these months from February onwards. He's survived what in earlier years would be political suicide. Gaffes like calling women pigs and calling Mexicans names and terming them as drug addicts and rapists, and talking about building the wall, not even being able to spell properly in his tweets. These are things that make for political disasters a couple of years ago. Not with Trump. Time and again, from the primaries onwards, every single thing that he's done which is rude, or worse than rude, they're not even a sideshow as far as he's concerned. He's time and again turned away a teleprompter and said, no, I'm going to be raw. And it is integral to his pitch. His bumbling and his bad vocab and his insults are integral to his pitch. And why is that? And why is that working? Now, of course, all the pundits are talking about this because it's so close to the election and he's still doing so well. What everyone's now coming around to, or wrapping their arms around, this idea that the anti-establishment mood and the people wanting to say, all right, we want an epic rebuke to bureaucracy, an epic rebuke to all that government stands for, and all this clouded, oh so grey words that you use, which we don't understand, we don't get it. We are voting for Trump because he represents the common guy. Maybe rough on the edge, maybe ill-mannered, that's fine, but that's us, and we don't want to be like you guys who are carefully looked after by consultants. Every word that you say is carefully thought through and calibrated. We don't want that. So in the Trump playbook, if you make enough gaffes, you make enough mistakes, pretty soon your critics will start making mistakes of your own. Here's what I'm saying. So he's been saying so many things that have been getting such widespread attention, criticism, but then he's also been getting a lot of play from the media. I mean, the CNN network and many other networks said, we've been played by Trump. He says, I'm going to make an announcement, and he gets other people to talk for half an hour. All that half an hour is telecast live. So now the time has come where he has made so many mistakes and people have gotten so tired of going after him that the networks are making mistakes of their own, probably. The latest poll among 18 to 34-year-olds shows a four-way split. So the four-way split is basically between Hillary, Trump, Stein, and Johnson. And that's not good, because if the 18 to 34-year-olds are split four ways and the other two people, Stein and Johnson, are taking away enough, that doesn't bode well for Clinton, who's already struggling with young voters, doesn't bode well for Trump, who's already struggling with young voters. And many of those voters, even if they are with Hillary or Trump, very clearly the voices everywhere are unequivocal. This is an against vote. This is not like we're excited about this campaign and we're voting. We just don't like the choices, therefore we had to choose, so we're voting. And November will answer many questions, November 8th. Two questions that it will certainly answer are these. Is there something called bad publicity? It's not gotten Trump down until now. If he wins, it will cement the fact that there is no such thing as bad publicity. At least it's worked for him. The other thing is just that Trump has been called this ignorant, narcissist, misfit, but the mirror will be turned on the electorate. Is that us? Is that you? So these are two things that will be a touchstone on November 8th. The other thing, and this is something for all of you to think about, is after everything is done and finished, after November 8th is finished, the new person is crowned. 45 states in America have open carry laws. What does that mean? 45 states in America, you can actually go around with a gun to the grocery store, different kinds of guns. Today something, tomorrow something much more fancy. Just like you stock bread and eggs in your refrigerator, you can keep guns at home. 45 of the 50 states have that law. Do people think any of that is going to change with the new president? Here's a clue. 8 years of Obama hasn't changed that. It's only gotten worse. And as gun violence increases, as the fear of homegrown terror increases, data tells us that more people have started carrying guns or buying guns, not less. So that's the latest from here. Here are the numbers once again. This is how the poll looks right now. Very, very close. And the average is about 1 percentage point. Clinton leads. But it's a dead tie in Florida, and that's big. And the first debate is September 26th in New York City at Hofstra. Thank you so much for joining in.